"Sir, please, just one night." That's all she said, barely loud enough to hear over the rain. She stood there on the porch, soaked to the skin, in a tight black dress that clung to her like a second layer of desperation. Her arms were wrapped around herself, her mascara smudged down her cheeks, but it was the look in her eyes that stopped Daniel cold. She didn't look dangerous. She looked broken, lost. "You can't stay out here," he muttered, glancing behind him at the tiny living room where his daughter was curled up with her teddy bear. He sighed, stepped aside, and opened the door wider. "The couch is clean." She walked in wordlessly, dripping rainwater onto the floor, and collapsed into the corner like she hadn't slept in days. No name. No thanks. Just silence. Daniel didn't ask questions. He'd seen that kind of look before, the kind of look people wore when the world had chewed them up and spit them out. He tossed her a blanket and sat across the room in the dark, just watching her breathe. He didn't know who she was or why she was out alone in a black dress on a stormy night, but something told him this wasn't just another stray story. His little girl peeked out from her room and asked softly, "Daddy, who's that?" He just whispered, "Someone who needs a safe place, baby. Go back to sleep." By morning, she was gone. The blanket was neatly folded. The door quietly shut behind her. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck, unsure if she'd been real at all. He figured she'd just needed a place to crash, another sad soul passing through. But 3 days later, 2 black SUVs pulled up to his rundown house. Men in sharp suits got out, flanked by tinted windows and questions that carried weight. "We're looking for a young woman, dark hair, about 5'5", wore a black dress the night she disappeared," one of them said, flipping open a badge. "You seen anyone like that recently?" Daniel kept his face steady. "Can't say I have. Just me and my daughter here." The agent tilted his head. "She's not what she seems, sir. She's a very important person, possibly in danger. If you know anything, now's the time." Daniel stared back without blinking. "Nope, sorry." The men left, but Daniel knew they'd be back. That girl wasn't some runaway. She was being hunted, for who she was or what she knew, and he'd just lied to protect her. That night she returned. She didn't knock. She just stood on the edge of his porch, soaked all over again, her eyes full of something between shame and hope. Daniel opened the door before she said a word. "You hungry?" he asked. She nodded, and he handed her a bowl of soup without ceremony. She sat across from him and ate in silence until his daughter crawled into her lap like they'd known each other for years. That's when the tears started. Quiet at first, then harder. Daniel said nothing, just sat there with her in the flickering kitchen, light. Finally she whispered, "My name's Eva. Eva Hunter." He paused. That name, he'd heard it on TV. Billionaire Edward Hunter's daughter, missing, rumors, scandal. But now she was sitting in his kitchen, wearing a black dress and scars she didn't try to hide. She told him everything, how she discovered her father's empire was built on lies, crime, and manipulation, how he threatened her into silence, how she ran, not because she was scared of losing money, but because she was scared of losing herself. "I don't know who to trust anymore," she whispered. Daniel looked at her, steady and honest. "Start with someone who doesn't want anything from you." She stayed 2 weeks. During the day, she played board games with his daughter and helped fix a leaking sink. At night, she paced the floor, fighting demons he couldn't see. She never once used her last name, never once asked for pity. Slowly, Ava began to smile again, laugh, sleep. And Daniel, who had known too much loss and too little hope, started to believe in good people again. But one morning, she was gone. This time there was no storm, just an empty couch, a folded blanket, and a strange, painful silence. Then Daniel turned on the news. There she was. Ava Hunter, standing at a podium in a black suit, surrounded by federal agents, her voice calm and razor-sharp. She was exposing everything, every crime, every bribe, every secret her father's empire had buried. She wasn't crying, she wasn't running. She was standing up like a warrior who finally found her voice. "I was hidden," she said into the mic, "by someone who saw a person, not a headline." She never said Daniel's name, never revealed his house. But a week later, a new van showed up at his garage. In it was an envelope. Inside, a handwritten note. "Thank you for the couch, the soup, and for not asking questions. Attached to it was a check that could pay off every debt, open a college fund, and save his struggling shop. Daniel stood outside that night, looking up at the stars, thinking about the girl in the black dress who changed everything without even trying. Sometimes kindness doesn't come from wealth, and sometimes the most powerful people are the ones who remember what it's like to be powerless. All it takes is one door left open in the rain. Before we wrap up this story, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. Don't just scroll, we're reading every single one. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know how you feel in the comments.